It must have been very difficult for the people who lived in the time of Jesus to really get their head around the fact that he was God, that he was really God. I mean, they had grown up with him. They had played with him. They had worked with him. They had seen him in the marketplace. They had seen him in the plaza, in the courtyard. They'd seen him around. And here this guy is now saying that he's come from the Father and he knows his Father and he's supposed to go back to the Father, and that this Father is God. I mean, that must have been really something difficult for them to get their minds around. I mean, we have 2,000 years of Christianity under our belt, and we have the whole tradition that's there and centuries of belief in Jesus. And so for us, it's almost kind of natural to say, well, yes, Jesus, that's the guy who was God, who came to be with us. But for them, it was really more like, how can this man here say that he is God? And in today's gospel, we continue with the dialogue between Jesus and Nicodemus. And Jesus makes some assertions today. And he says that the one who comes from above is above all. But the one who is earthly only thinks of earthly things. The one that is above all is from heaven, and he testifies to what he has seen and heard. And we can wonder, what is this that Jesus is saying about what he's seen and heard? I think we shouldn't try to complicate this too much and imagine too many things going on here, but I think we should remember, as St. John says in another passage, he says, God is love. And so Jesus, yes, he knew the love that the Father had for him. He knew and he saw and he heard, he experienced that love that the Father had for his Son. And that's why he goes on to say that no one accepts this testimony, his testimony, because no one can accept the testimony like Jesus can. No one else can embrace that love of the Father, that self-giving love of the Father, that self-sacrificing love of the Father that pours out all of his love for the Son. And Jesus is the only one who can fully accept that, fully embrace that, and fully receive that. So Jesus is unique, and he's the only one who can accept the love of the Father. And so no one else really has the measure of love that Jesus has. And so no one else can truly accept the testimony of Jesus. But Jesus also said that if there are things that are from heaven, there are also things from earth. And we go normally to the things that we love. So if we love sex, money, and power, well, then that's where our mind goes to. That's where our thoughts go to. And if we love them at a great deal, we become preoccupied or even obsessed by those things. So you can see how we're drawn there into those earthly things, and they control us and they overwhelm us. But Jesus says, no, we are called to think about the things from above. And when we think about Jesus coming from his Father, and that love that his Father pours out onto Jesus. And we can also think of the witness that Jesus gives. What about that total self-sacrificing love on the part of Jesus that gave himself so totally for us, gave himself up on the cross and suffered his brutal and cruel passion and suffered that out of love for each and every one of us. And how he was so total in the giving of his love, and that he gave every bit, every ounce of his love back to the Father. So Jesus is really asking us to enter into this cycle of love. He's asking us to be able to receive the love of the Father, but in turn, yes, to be able to give it back, that we are called to enter into this same relationship, enter into this same dynamic. And that's where the Spirit leads us to, yes, give back to the Father with Jesus the love that he deserves. And so, yes, when we do that, we are drawn in more into the heavenly dimension of things. We are drawn into that dimension, and yes, the things that we experience are of heaven. And yes, we can say that we begin to experience some of the fruits of eternal life because we have entered into that relationship of love between the Father and the Son with the Father. And so that is why the Father who loves his Son has given everything over to him. And he has also given the gift of his Spirit that he doesn't ration out, but he gives so fully. So it's for us to open our hearts wide and to embrace this self-giving love of the Father for the Son for us, and the Spirit. And it's for us to open our hearts to embrace that and to be able to give back that to the Father, because he deserves our love and he deserves all that we can give him, just as his Son gave himself so totally for us.